Hey, Pepin.
Yo.
You gonna say excuse me there, bud?
Why?
Because that's extremely rude to just, burp like that at the table.
What do you mean it's extremely rude?
You're being a rude boy.
How so? I mean, it's just... I didn't grow up like that.
Don't you know anything about table manners?
Well, a little bit. Hold on. I got one more.
Nate,
Sorry, that was a little much. I have to agree.
we need to talk. Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend, burping aficionado, Nathan Pepin. How's it going, Pepin?
Doing very well. I put two doings in there because I am doing very well.
Oh, well, that's good to know. We're also joined by a special guest, my brother, Brian. How's it going, Brian?
Hi, thank you for having me back. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad that we could get you on, Mr. Manners himself.
Mr. Manners, that's me.
So I want to talk today about table manners and, different things that may or may not be rude at the table or would be considered that in certain company. And I kind of want to dive into whether, table manners are really applicable anymore, given the state of the world as it currently stands. And we'll see where that goes. Maybe we'll talk about manners in general and other things.
Mm-hmm.
But to start off, I want to dive right into one that I've heard a lot of people talking about recently that I think is an important thing to talk about. Elbows on the table.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I completely forgot about that.
You're not supposed to put your elbows on the table while you're eating.
I am an offender of that. I do that.
Why? I mean, and I know it's like a high class kind of thing, or it came from like high class families. I'm still not sure why.
I'm not sure either. Maybe it's about taking up too much room, especially when you're at a busy table and there's a lot of food and people trying to do their own thing, and you're hogging all this space. It's kind of the man spreading of tables.
So elbows on the table, man spreading of tables.
Yes.
Remember when I brought up man spreading and you're like, that's not a real thing?
No, we talked about that at length, actually.
We did, but it was like, no.
No, you brought it up. Okay, we're going to rehash this for a second now. You brought it up and you said, well, you can't judge any man who's man-spreading because maybe he had dick surgery. That was your response to man-spreading. And I said, I think that's the 0.001% and that most people who are man-spreading are being dicks. And you said, well, that 0.001% deserves respect, so we need to respect everybody the same.
I did not say dick surgery. I said maybe it hurt when their balls were crushed between their legs. So imagine there's a girl, she had triple D's, and she couldn't she had to keep her elbows out to their sides, a little too much on the train, or she took up a little too much space there.
And once again, we're back to the point being, I'm not saying you have to have your fucking legs closed and on top of each other or crossed. I'm saying you can keep them at a reasonable distance. You don't have to literally gape your legs completely wide open like you're fucking trying to be the Grand Canyon.
Just be mindful of that.
That's what I was getting at, was just be mindful.
Well, I'm going to go off this thing called boob spreading then.
All right.
Because boob spreading
I fucking love boob spreading.
Boob spreading is great, especially when you put some butter on there. And
boob spreading, ass spreading, let's get it done.
Love that.
So elbows on the table, I think it's a space issue. That's what I think. Now, according to common etiquette, you can put your elbows on the table in between courses when you're in conversation to show interest. If you're propping up your head with your hand to be like, oh yeah, no, I definitely understand that. You can have your elbows on the table in that situation, and that's completely polite, if not, the other side where that's almost expected to show that you're interested. I
think that makes sense. And first of all, I can't really imagine having my arms on the table too much, if I'm in conversation or at the dinner, because this is kind of awkward to do that. But I guess that makes sense. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, for me, I have my arms on the table a lot because I'm a fidgeter, because I have constant anxiety. So it's just that's what that is for me, is I get to touch my hands and shit just because I have anxiety.
Can we collectively agree as a society at this point in our history that the only rule when it comes to etiquette should be to be mindful of other people and be respectful to other people? So
For sure.
if putting your elbows on the table is going to cause other people distress because they don't have room anymore,
That's when you stop.
don't put your elbows on the table. If there's plenty of room, fucking go wild with your elbows. Go fucking wacky waving inflatable waving arm man.
God damn.
I think having that. I still like the rule in general, but you have to apply some level of reason to it, because otherwise, like, anything becomes like taboo, or kind of like, you can't do that. Like, I'm trying to think exactly. I mean, one thing I agree with that is, like, fish. Fish is terrible. Like, if you ever make fish, like, at, like, say your work or somewhere, like, it smells up the entire place. I guess if you do it right, it won't smell up the entire place, but it's rude to do that. That's kind of, like, not a very good manners type thing.
So you're talking break room etiquette. Don't cook your stinky food in the communal microwave during lunch when everybody has to be in there for 30 minutes.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But I'm trying to think of an example where it's like, it goes a little bit too far, because it's like, here's one. So there's, like, biting nails. Some people bite nails, and you could say biting nails is gross. You know, there's maybe no argument against that. But some people, like, they'll start freaking out if you're biting your nails. And so do you respect that person's, I don't know, what do you call it,
Tick.
to not bite your nails in front of them? Because maybe if it's in their own home, like, say I'm over at your house and you don't like biting nails, I can get that, because you might be worried my nails will get onto your carpet, and that's kind of gross, and which I would agree. But at the same time, if it's in my house or if it's somewhere just in public, it's not like that big of a thing.
There's a level of civility that we need to have as a society, where just because somebody doesn't like something doesn't mean you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it or you can't do it. I think it would just mean that you should keep it in mind, and you shouldn't do it just to piss them off, but you shouldn't necessarily completely change your habits just because somebody else disagrees with that specific thing. Unless you're in their home, and then you follow their rules, because that's their home, that's their kingdom. But if you're in a shared space, you both have the same right. And now if there's a situation where you're doing something that they deem gross, and they've made it very clear that they deem that gross, and there's no way for them to avert their eyes, maybe, like, fucking hold off if it's not something that you have to do. If it's just compulsory, like biting your nails, then
With your
like,
mouth open. That's one.
Then yeah, exactly. Then, like, maybe just keep that in mind and, like, try not to do it. Now, if you fuck up and, like, accidentally, like, it's compulsive and you just do it, that's not a big deal. Like, but you should try and be mindful of other people.
What was that one that you had? Hearing people chew or something?
Hearing people chew is really gross, and that is table etiquette 101. Like, you do not chew with your mouth open.
Okay, but I think we had a podcast before when you're talking about this hating the hearing of chewing, and you would, like, blast your headphones when we used to dorm together, because you knew it was, like, kind of irrational. Let's say irrational. Like, you knew that I wasn't doing anything wrong necessarily. I wasn't.
You weren't
like,
being malicious.
I wasn't being malicious, and it was just standard chewing. But it was driving you crazy.
It
So
was fucking nasty, dude.
you
found the juiciest fucking apples you could find, and you mashed that shit.
the apples were great.
I'm sure they were. They sounded fucking nasty.
Oh my god.
But that's one of those ticks where it's like, I suppose if someone is really bothering you, really bringing you down, you might, like, you bring it up, but it's something you take kind of, say, ownership of, and you kind of change your environment by putting headphones on, leaving the room. If someone's chewing with their mouth open, that's a little different, because that's just disgusting. I mean, you can see that's definitely an etiquette thing. You shouldn't have to say that.
For sure.
There's a lot of etiquette around napkins. You're supposed to, when you're dining, put a napkin on your lap. You're supposed to, in a casual setting, just when you sit down, you immediately just put the napkin on your lap. If you're at a dinner party, you're supposed to wait for the hostess to put hers on her lap first, and then you follow suit, or the host if it's a man hosting the dinner party.
See, that sounds like kind of like class kind of shit right there.
Definitely.
Like it's things that like the middle class or it's something the upper class kind of uses to tell who's middle class. It's like, oh, they didn't put the napkin on their pants there. They are definitely not making as much as I do.
I don't know. I think that's more of a polite thing. Like, if you get your food first at a restaurant, the polite thing to do is not immediately dig in. You wait for everybody to get their food, then you start eating. But if you finish your food before somebody else gets theirs, that's very rude. So most time, I think it follows that same suit, that the hostess is the one who's controlling the party. It's their home. You let them take the lead, and you follow suit.
Okay, I'll agree. That's a good one. But I'll add a little caveat there. So let's say that we're all at Applebee's here, and I gotta take like a really big shit, and I know it's gonna be about 5-6 minutes, and the food's not out, but it's probably gonna be out. So if I leave and the food arrives like as soon as I leave, and you guys have to wait, say 6-10 minutes for you to eat the food, that's rude of me, knowing that I had something that was gonna take like 6 or 10 minutes to get finished and figured out.
So the polite thing for you would be to let us know.
Yeah, say, hey guys, I'm gonna be in the bathroom. If the food comes, feel free to start without me. I might be a little bit here.
And I think it would be equally polite for us to at least give 2.5, 3 minutes for you to come back. And if you don't come back, then starting eating. Usually picking at fries is a good starter. But usually you don't bite into your hamburger like right off the bat when there's somebody not at the table. Sipping your drink, things like that. But I agree with you. If they don't come back, or if they prompt you to, you can go ahead and start without me. It's totally fine to do so.
It seems like a lot of the manners that we have are around food for some reason.
Well, I mean, we're talking about table manners right now, so I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, the manners that like a lot of the manners that are we have just revolve around food in general, like or things to do with food, like burping, farting. What's the other thing we do? Hiccuping.
Is that like a manner thing though? Hiccuping? It's kind of involuntary.
And so is burping a lot of times.
Okay, yeah.
And farting to some degree. I mean,
To some degree.
There's some voluntary control sometimes, but I've heard people say excuse me when they hiccup. Sneezing.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't grow up with, so let me be clear here. I will always say excuse me after I burp, even if I'm by myself.
Unless it's in an opening to a podcast.
Unless it's an opening to a podcast, and it's the perfect opening. But one thing I didn't grow up with was the whole, saying bless you or gesundheit or things like that for sneezing. And it really confused me because I was around a couple of people and I sneezed or actually they sneezed. And I didn't say bless you or gesundheit or anything to them. And they got so pissed at me. Like, why didn't you say it? Why? What do you want me to die?
Leprechaun's gonna steal your soul.
Like, I don't even know, but they got super pissed. No, say it. And they, hounded me. And there's my friend who was also in that workplace. She's actually been on the show, Shannon. She got hounded about that as well before. So it's this weird kind of thing.
I don't know if it's worth hounding somebody over. I usually just ignore it, but it is the polite thing for somebody to say it. Everybody doesn't have to say it. And usually if someone sneezes, you wait until the series of sneezes has ended. So some people sneeze like 7, 8, 9 times. Usually after 2 or 3, most people stop sneezing. You say it then, and then if they sneeze again, I usually don't respond to that. I just let that count as part of the series.
But I don't know why, though, because it's like, why did someone else... Like, with burping, you say excuse me because you did it. With sneezing, I mean, it's just kind of a sneeze. I mean, it's not like... I don't know. Like... Number one, why isn't it coming upon you to say something if I sneeze?
Because you can't bless yourself.
I guess
that's not how blessings work.
I guess that's the technical aspect, but
they used to say that because they thought the demons were causing you to sneeze, so they would say bless you to bless the demon out of you to make you stop sneezing.
But that's like so old and dumb. We don't have to keep
Yeah,
doing
but so all memes are old and dumb.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of making it a meme.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean.
It's just a carry on of an old tradition that now is considered polite. Politeness doesn't have anything to do with the basis in reality for the most part. I mean, some of the things like not taking up too much space, like that makes a lot of sense. But like bless you and excuse me, those don't make much sense as far as like practical standpoint, a pragmatic standpoint. But they still are considered polite, and you still, somebody who's polite, you think differently of somebody who's not polite than somebody who is polite. Like, just those small things tweak somebody in your eyes to whether they're polite or not.
Yeah. I know certain things will change people's minds on you. Like, one thing I'm thinking of is, like, bathroom etiquette and how your bathroom is kind of laid out or set up. But Brian, in terms of bathroom etiquette, is there anything, like, you have in mind, like, that's kind of, like, a pet peeve, or, say...
Don't shit in the sink.
Don't shit in the sink.
An etiquette area?
Well, I mean, like, if you piss on the seat, obviously clean that up. But, or I guess, other than that...
Is the seat the same as the rim?
Yes.
If you piss anywhere but in the water,
Well, no,
inside
not the
the
rim.
bowl.
Yeah, well,
like-
the rim. I mean, still clean that up because it's like your bodily fluids all
do
everywhere.
you clean it up if it's already disgusting and somebody else didn't clean it up before you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Or maybe I'm lying.
No, what about in a public place?
In a public place, I'll wipe the seat. If
Oh,
it's
no,
like,
no.
Like, I don't
I won't.
touching the handle too. That's not like a pet peeve,
If
but it's
it
like,
like
I don't
splashes out and like it's on the seat and there's no other piss on the seat, I'll wipe that.
Yeah.
But if it splashes out and it's already fucking disgusting, I am leaving that shit. Like, that's someone else's deal.
do that. Ugh. Having to poop in public with stuff like that, obviously lay down those toilet papers. So gross.
I actually have a small struggle with my accuracy now. Because, as Steve knows, I had surgery on my dick.
Dick surgery.
Yeah.
Surgery.
Yeah, so...
That's why he's so special. He's so fond of manspreading.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All makes sense.
But essentially, they cut my urethra open because there was a kidney stone which kind of closed it up a bit. And urethra is the tip of your penis, essentially. You know, your pee hole.
Well, technically, it's not the hole. Technically, it's the actual tube.
Yeah. But so they had to, like, open
The
it
hole
up.
is called the pee hole.
The technical term.
But a lot of times I can pee just fine, but it's still not like... It's not like a natural pee hole. I mean, so a lot of times it kind of does this, like, spray action, and I never know it's going to do the spray action. Like, I'm not sure why, but it'll just be, like, spraying all over the place. So it's like sometimes when I stand up, it's like... I think it's going to be fine, but nope. It's just, like, all over the place, and it's like, should have sat down.
That's something I worry about a lot of the time is the squirting. That's why, that just sounds terrible, but that's why I a lot of the time will sit down to pee.
I worry
am
a lot about squirting.
It's a hassle. It's a hazard.
This one time, I squirted so bad.
Okay.
Squirted across the room.
Nice to meet ya. It's me. Yep, in the horns, baby. Come on. Say my name. Dare ya? Double, no, triple dog dare ya. I'm a good judge of character, usually, but gotta admit, wouldn't have pegged you for a pussy. Your kind scares too easily. Guess you don't want these front row seats, talking real VIP shit, to the end of the world, huh? Gonna be the greatest show in the universe. Buckeye, Texas. Ground zero for the biggest, baddest, most epic takedown in human history. You thought the flood was bad? Please. That's rookie shit. You ain't seen nothing. Weapon of choice? Geminis. Cross a werepanther with a gargoyle and throw in some Lovecraftian spice for good measure. Pure cosmic flying badassness. One pissed off pussy and his vixen mate. And who are they pissed off at and ready to enslave and slaughter? Ha, you good old folks. That's who. Not to mention the 12 zodiac tribes. But you ain't interested, are ya? 'Cause you're a pussy. Huh? You and the Geminis have something in common. If you ever grow a set, check out the audio drama Paladin Cycle on fictionforadults.com.
So I am on etiquettescholar.com right now, and I'm looking at some of these etiquettes that I wasn't aware of that I want to know if you guys are. Etiquette with salt and pepper. You're always supposed to pass the salt and pepper together.
Isn't there a thing that you pass the salt or whatever to the left? Or is it to the right?
You're
Something
usually
like that?
supposed to pass things to the right. Unless you're passing to a specific person, then you pass the shortest route to that person. But for salt and pepper, you're supposed to pass them together always. So if someone asks for the salt, you pass them both.
I don't want the pepper though. I want the salt.
What I do is I ask if they want, well, the other thing. I mean, this mostly because it's convenient for me and it makes sense. But I don't know if that's like an etiquette. I think it's etiquette to ask if they want the other one, because they probably do. But it's not like demanded. I don't think it's like required. I think it's just kind of like a nice thing to do.
I'm just reading from etiquettescholar.com, and if there's anything more scholarly than Etiquette Scholar, I don't know what it is.
We are more.
They have an ad at the top: earn your degree for less. Southern Maine Community College. I'll hide that ad.
Sponsored by.
So, resting utensils. When you're taking a break from eating, you're supposed to cross your fork and knife on your plate. When you're done eating, you put them parallel to each other. So that will signal to the waiter, waitress, whatever, that you are done eating. And they can take your plate.
That seems like a regional thing. Because it's like, at least in New England, what we do is we put like our glasses or our plates kind of more towards the end. Sometimes if the waitress is good or the server, they'll tell us like to give us like an idea of what to do. Just put this thing up at the end, this little pamphlet here, and it'll be right over if you do that. So I don't think it's an etiquette thing. I think kind of is, but it's more of a regional thing. Because I've never heard about that up here.
So continental style, you place your knife and fork on your plate near the center, slightly angled in an inverted V, and with the tips of the fork and knife pointing towards each other when you're taking a break from or finished eating.
That's stupid.
When you're pausing to take a sip of your beverage or to speak to someone. The American style is to rest your knife on the top right of your plate diagonally with the fork nearby tines up. And when the course is finished, you place the knife and fork parallel with the handles in the 4 o'clock position on the right rim of the plate.
It's so specific. This is stuff you would have to look up to even know. This is not something that just like
or be taught
knows.
by your parents who actually know what they're doing.
Fuck that.
Yeah, this seems like a really kind of specific application here.
It's contrived.
Do you want to learn about bread passing etiquette?
Nah.
Break that bread.
I mean...
Do not touch the loaf with your fingers.
What do you touch it with?
Use the cloth in the bread basket as a buffer to steady the bread as you slice it.
Steady the bread as you slice it.
Oh,
It
that's
was
a
a
great
bar.
Robbie. What a sick bar.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, there's manners with everything, though. So we talked about table manners, a little bit about bathroom etiquette. I think one etiquette thing, we talked about this on another podcast, but putting the seat down, leaving it up, I think it doesn't matter. I mean, I think do what the fuck you want.
Well, if there's other people in the house that affects, then it's like you have to be mindful of that.
Well, how does it affect them, though? Because they have to put it down. I had to put it up.
I don't know.
Or I had to keep it up. I didn't want to put it down. They can put it down. Oh, no, they're going to fall in? Well, you should have been paying attention.
I got a question. 21st century question. Your phone. When you're having a conversation with somebody, do you ever take out your phone? I would say if you're having like a one-on-one conversation with someone, you don't take out your fucking phone. I say that's wicked rude.
It's extremely rude. It's something that I have definitely done before, like impulsively, and then realized what I was doing and then put that shit away. But it's like...
Taking it out to look at the
impulse.
time,
Yeah.
I would say is a different thing.
I've done that.
And you almost have to address it after and be like, yeah, okay, it's like 12 o'clock or something, or like have a reason for needing to look at it.
Right.
But to just pull out your phone and then like start
Go on
reading
it.
text and texting back, like that is so rude
Don't
while
I?
you're talking to somebody.
Definitely.
That's almost what it's like. Like, you're boring me.
Mm-hmm.
I have more important people in my pocket.
There's no other way that can be looked at as that being the cause.
I think it's how you frame it a little bit. I'm not someone who really does that very much. I try to stay off my phone in general. If you kind of you make it clear you're paying attention to that person and just checking something real quick, and I think it's acceptable. And also, if you were that person for a long time, I think it's acceptable, because it's like sometimes you hang out with someone for like 2 or 3 hours.
You have a conversation with somebody for 2 to 3 hours?
No, hanging out with that person.
Okay, that's a completely different fish. I'm going to make the argument. I'm going to say that I agree with you, because I think if you're having a conversation with somebody, Looking at your phone is rude.
Yeah, if it's a legit conversation, but let's say that you go to lunch with somebody and you order food and stuff and you're having a few conversations back and forth, and then there's a little lull, and then you just pull out your phone to check to see if they have...
You find a polite time to
Yeah.
check your phone. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Someone goes to the bathroom. Great time. Pull out your phone. Save that shit for when someone's going to shit.
Yeah, or if there's just a natural kind of time where just... But I don't think it's always rude. I have a habit that's a kind of a bad habit, but I have a hard time staying still a lot of times. So I get super fidgety. Maybe similar to Brian here.
It's an anxiety thing.
So
I
I
don't
will
know.
just fiddle around my phone, kind of look at it, and I'm not... I know I don't have any messages or have anything to look at. I'm not looking for messages even. I'm just like turning it on, just looking at it and putting it back. Or I'm just kind of like flipping it around in my hand and doing backflips and I don't know.
Yeah.
You're doing backflips with your phone?
Yeah, my
With
phone's
his phone.
just
How many
going
phones
like
you
that.
gone through?
I've actually been pretty good about not dropping it, doing backflips, but yeah.
Are you trying to impress the ladies?
No, it's just like I need to do something.
Look at how dexterous I am.
It's crazy.
I'm making like arm motions, by the way. Like,
You're making a lot of arm motions. And Brian's animating.
I'm adding that.
Brian's your sound effects department.
One thing that's a bathroom etiquette thing that I wasn't aware of. I mean, this is a difference here, and maybe it's like a income level difference. But when I was growing up, I was always told, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. I mean, we didn't exactly have that in stone. Like there wasn't like that actual phrase. But if I flushed the toilet and too much, my dad would come and say, Nathan, stop flushing the toilet so much. Like only do it if you really need to.
Like water bill issue. Like
Yeah, water. Well, also we had to maintain our own septic system, and we had some piping issues in our house in general. But we also had to pay for it too. So it's like at my house, that was kind of the rule. But when I got my first apartment, like my roommate was very disgusted by that. Like he's always of the mind to flush the toilet, like no matter what. Like even if you go like just let's say you go in there, just put a few drops, flush it. And to me, that's like a whole nother kind of world type thing. Like wow, like I'm not paying for water at this current location here, but I will only flush it if I have to, or if there's guests over like you, like because you don't want to see like
Family is a different story, and it depends like how long it's going to be sitting. Like right before bed, it would make sense to flush it because you can like stain your toilet and stuff, and then it makes it
I
way
agree.
harder to clean. So I think being mindful of it is smart, but wasting water is not a good way to handle any situation.
There's like this thing called like a wave pool at a
Yeah,
splashdown.
sure.
Funtown Splashdown. It's like a wave pool.
not sponsored.
Fun
And-
Town, Splash Town, USA.
USA.
We all know it.
We gotta get the paid promo though.
We got that paid promo right in my pocket.
Oh boy.
We got free passes to the wave pool.
Let's go.
But if no one's ever been to like a wave pool, it's just kind of like it sounds. It just generates waves, and you can kind of like go up and down on them. Kind of like waves at the ocean, except better, bigger. But
Debatable.
it's kind of fun because you jump up with the wave, and it's like woo, woo, woo. But there's all these like it used to be fine, but then all these fucking assholes started coming, and they all have like these giant incher tubes they buy, like they buy them from or they rent them from the place, and so it's just nothing but people with incher tubes, and they don't care where the fuck they are or who's between them. And what happens is your head gets smashed between like 5 of them, and you start kind of drowning a little bit, and no one cares. And it's like these inner tube people are like I think the rudest people out there because they do not give a fuck. They're just like, yeah, it's not even that fun either to be on the inner tube just going, oh yeah.
Nazis, the KKK, inner tube people.
Oh, yeah.
The big 3.
In that order.
Rudest people.
Yeah,
Soccer moms. With their fucking soccer mom haircut.
Yep.
And they're, I want the manager finger.
Give me the manager.
and then let's say the IRS is number 5 or 6.
Okay. And the International Revenue
employees.
Service.
Yeah, but for China, not for the U.S. I think the American people are a bit better.
They're all really bad, and they're fucking government-sanctioned bureaucratic thieves.
Fuck the government. That's the message here. Table manners, fuck the government.
Politics. That's also one. So bringing up politics at the dinner table, that's a bad thing to do.
People feel very strongly about politics.
And bringing up politics at work as well. I mean, that's generally kind of bad. People do it a lot, and
Oh, yeah.
I think it's all right.
To an
But
extent. But when you start spouting your political views at work, it's like, okay, calm down.
I usually keep my mouth shut during those times
Yeah.
and just vehemently disagree with everybody.
That's how it be.
Unless they say taxation is theft. And then
my problem with political conversations at work is I wouldn't mind having them. I'm okay with people who disagree. Like, me and Steve disagree on some political things. And
pretty much everything.
we have, like, pretty cool conversations about that.
Yeah.
It's important.
But, like, we kind of, like, you know, if Steve has a point, you know, I'll make Steve make the point. I'll clarify his point. If I have a point, I'll make my point. Steve will ask questions and clarify. But if, let's say I'm at work and someone makes some political point, and then, so I'm always kind of, like, a bit gray with everything. Like, I don't really, like, it's kind of like, you know, it's complex. So
Yeah, it's Nathan Wishy-Washy Pepin.
I'm very wishy-washy and try to factor out everything that I can. But so when I try to have a conversation with someone, it just ends up with that person just telling me how it is, or just ignoring any subtlety, and you can't actually like have any subtle discussion. It's just like, well, blah 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 da da da, and then this, and it's like da 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 da, and it's like, well, but no blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, there's no subtlety to this question. It's just like a matter of fact for you. Like, you don't, there's like no discussion here. It's just you want to tell me your political beliefs. It's not that fun. I mean, it's fun if I kind of prod you a bit, but it's just, I don't know, it's not even creative. That's my problem.
Good tip for those situations: buy a cattle prod. That makes prodding people very, very easy.
But
Especially if you disagree with them. Then you just give them a little zap. Oh, a taser works well too.
Oh, what kind of taser?
The kind that has the little pins, and if they stick into the person's spine, and then shock them and paralyze them for like 30 to 40 years.
stun gun works too, though, because you can get distance with that.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Shoot him
That's
in the
true,
face.
that's true.
Should you combine it with mace?
No. Mace gets everywhere, and then it's hanging in the air, and you're coughing. Your eyes are. I mean, unless you bring a gas mask, then you're good.
So bring a gas mask, taser someone in the spine to paralyze them, but also put mace on them. That makes
So they don't know who did it,
yeah, okay. Blind them.
Tear gas the place
and
first.
then make your political point.
One kind of like little table manner type thing I think is important is, let's say that you have dinner with somebody, and let's give an example here. So let's say I invite Steve over to my parents' place.
No, I'm busy. Go on.
Or,
Which parent?
I don't know. What's my mom's place?
Okay,
Okay,
no.
no, this is a bad example. Let's say I invite Brian over to my parents' place.
Oh,
Brian
what's
doesn't
up?
know my parents.
Nope.
Okay.
And
Which parent?
let's say my mom and my stepdad.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, Brian's never met them, and we have dinner together. It's important for me to kind of like, Brian's awkward in that conversation because he doesn't know either one of them. He knows me, but he can't just have a conversation with me because, you know, he doesn't know how they are. So it's important for me as a guest bringer to kind of introduce Brian and kind of get Brian involved in that conversation.
You're the mutual.
Yeah.
So it's your job to find common ground and present common ground and let discussion unfold from there.
Yeah. Like facilitate the conversation.
Yeah.
And that's something that people don't do a lot, which kind of annoys me. Like, you get invited to something, and like, oh yeah, I'll just bring a couple friends, and you know, you go there, and that person does not introduce you, or maybe they introduce you, but it's just not like, it's just kind of like they're there hanging out with their friends and kind of you, and you're like, so, John, was that your name? What do you do?
You're like, I'm on disability. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's too easy to offend people. So I agree
my
with you.
God.
If you're the mutual, you need to take the reins and start the conversation. Hopefully by finding common ground between two people. And like, if I know both of you like baseball, then maybe I bring it up and be like, hey Brian, did you know Nate's actually a big baseball fan? He loves the Red Sox. And then that gives you a chance to be like, sports.
Sports. Balls.
And then Pepin can be like, balls.
Yeah.
And then you can both whip out your hats. Ball caps.
Ball
Right?
caps.
And if you really see that we're having a ball, you can, like, you know, let us
Like
have our
and subscribe on
conversation.
iTunes.
Or we can go to twitter.com/WNTT1 and, send us a message, follow us.
All About Baseball at Boston Red Sox. Is that there? That's probably their Twitter.
Let's just go with it.
At MLB Red Sox.
Or facebook.com/We Need to Talk Show.
Fuck Facebook.
Okay, fuck Facebook.
True.
Or Patreon. We got a thing there, but you're not going to donate,
Give
so
them
fuck
money.
you.
Give them money.
Podcast
thank
NH.
you.
Podcast NH recently got a new person on.
Yeah.
Or
That's
a new podcast on.
absolutely. I highly suggest checking him out. It's New Hampshire based, and he goes around and talks to different businesses, entrepreneurs, and learns about their business. And it's really a great chance to learn about different businesses. I was listening to one recently. It's a chiropractor in Nashua, and they don't do a lot of the, like, if you've ever been to a chiropractor, there's like a lot of like really fast jerky motions of like snapping and cracking by twisting people and pushing on them, and they have a much gentler style. So somebody who maybe is put off or nervous about the snappy type of chiropractification, I highly suggest them. But they're not the reason I'm talking. The reason I'm talking is because New Hampshire business podcast. So check them out on podcastnh.com, plus tons of others.
Shit happens when you party naked. We had them on, and we're also on their show, and they're hilarious.
C&G Wrestling Podcast.
Those guys are hilarious.
Damn You Diary. OC. D. Off Color Discussions. And so many more. I'm not going to go into all of them because there's literally almost a dozen. Almost. There's 11. So with that said, I think it's good etiquette to end the show in a similar way than you began by, raising it. This is the dessert course. This is when somebody who's not the host will typically present a toast of some sort, and say, something nice that toasts to everybody else.
Okay, let us all put our forks and knives parallel on the table.
Okay.
They are set.
Okay.
Clink.
Dear Lord, help us.
That's a
Wait.
blessing. That is not a toast.
Okay.
That comes before you.
Hallowed
eat.
be thy name.
I wish to thank.
Hold on.
He's clinking the crystal.
I'd like to toast and hold you.
I would like to toast to greatness, to glory, for things which have been done and never been done in the same sentence, but at the same time, to such that the extent we are able to continue on forth into the night, journey darkness, sweeping through like suns ablazing.
Are you doing Metallica lyrics?
We need to talk.
Hey, Pepin.
Yo.
Do you usually subscribe to entire podcasts, or do you look for specific topics?
Well, I try using the search function on my podcast player on my phone. It doesn't work too well. Try using Google. It's not really set up for it, so I honestly have trouble.
Why don't you just use Listen Notes?
Listen Notes. What's that?
It's a search engine for podcasts that doesn't just search for the terms you're looking for in the title of the episode or the title of the podcast, but from inside the episode itself. Meaning if you're looking for a specific topic, you can find specific podcast episodes that are about that topic.
That sounds a lot easier than spending the hours and hours I have just trying to find the exact right keywords to actually get it to bring up the episode. I mean, usually I just get like a million how to start your own podcast articles. It's really annoying. So that sounds a lot better.
Exactly. When you're looking for something to listen to, just go to listennotes.com, type in a topic you're interested in, and you'll get instant gratification, useful results. That's listennotes.com. Check it out now.